Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, guiding you through the trails of Glacier National Park. And today we are talking about what you might see, what you might experience on these trails. Wildlife is a big part of the enjoyment of Glacier National Park. And today we are honored to have Ms. Diane Boyd in the studio with us, author, researcher, conservationist, and talking a lot about wolves in the park and her experience with them, some things that you can learn, that we can learn as we interact with them. It's not very frequent as far as we know, but in the case of, or just for appreciation and the interest of understanding this creature that shows up in Glacier National Park. We're so excited to hear more from her. So check out part 1 if you haven't listened. And Diane, we were discussing, kind of conversing here in the studio about the areas of Glacier National Park. We've talked a lot about how it's split into 5 or 6 major areas and talked about hikes in each of those areas. But wolves, where might we expect to see them or see sign?
So wolves are where you find them, sort of thing. But you got to look for areas where they have a good food supply. So in the wintertime, deer and elk winter range. In the summertime, they're generally at lower elevations. I mean, you got to think about, well, where are the animals having their fawns and calves, right? A wolf can go a long way, but I mean, if you're expecting to go up to the Highline Trail or summit Mount Reynolds and see a wolf on the top, not real likely.
Yeah.
It can happen, but they're not creatures of snow and ice. They're not grizzly bears. They're not flipping over rocks to eat cutworm moths. I mean, yeah. So, and you just have to look where you've got visibility. That's a key thing in Glacier. So much of it is dense forest, and I spent so many years doing it, and got lucky to see them from an airplane when I knew they were directly below me because of the radio collar. But East Front, St. Mary's, the Flats, Two Dog Flats. So the east side's got a lot of wolves too, down around Apgar Lake McDonald, any place there's meadows, and then of course up and down the North Fork Road. And again, it's hard to see them, but if you put in your time, you will at least get to see tracks and maybe scat, and maybe hear them howl. And if you get really lucky, you get one run across in front of you.
That's so great. You've seen so many, you've worked with so many wolves over the years, and I'm gonna force you into, Diane, which is your favorite wolf? You've established relationships with you. I mean, and Sarah's that way too. Like, she understands animal behavior. She's in tune with it, on the same wavelength, and you've obviously got to be that way after so many years of studying them. Any specific relationship or favorite creature that you've interacted with?
No pressure. You've walked a passionate road with these guys for 40 years, so.
So, it's different in that we didn't get to see the animals, and we avoided bumping into them because we knew where they were with the telemetry, and we would go to where they had been and then ski on their back trail or whatever. But there were 2 individuals, and I devoted a chapter to each one in my book because they really stick out. One is named Phyllis, and one is named Sage. And they were early on in the history of the wolf recovery, and they both played really, really key roles. And I interacted with them repeatedly over the years. And so those 2 stick out. I mean, if you want a specific incident, just tell me. But they were pretty special.
Yeah, that's great. You established that connection. And you said it, your book highlights some of these scenarios and some of these relationships. So people can dig in more. We'd like for them to do that and check out A Woman Among Wolves. Terrific book. When did you discover, this is probably way back, but when did you discover that wolf was the animal? I mean, there are so many terrific species to study, to research, and they all need help for us to understand, how we can interact, how we can coexist. When for you was it the wolf?
It was really my birthright, being born in Minnesota with the only state that had any wolves. And then the second step to that was I went to the University of Minnesota, and Dave Meach's office was on my campus, the St. Paul campus. And he's the premier wolf researcher in the world. Matter of fact, I just chatted with him yesterday. I think he's turning 85.
Wow.
And he's decided he's going to retire this year.
Oh my goodness.
He's still working full time, and he hasn't lost a brain cell. But I would go to his office and bug him, and I was just a starry-eyed, 18-year-old or whatever. But I've always really liked wolves, and then once I started making these connections, I'd go to the Como Park Zoo and I'd look at their captive wolf pack in a natural environment, and I just kept choosing paths that I pushed myself into that world and got my way there and kept checking for opportunities. So I sought them out starting when 18, 19. And of course, I'd go up to the Boundary Waters canoe areas and go camping by myself and always hoped to see them when I was in high school.
You pursued the wolf. They are the ones that should be frightened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watch out for this bold woman.
Watch out for the blonde lady.
Yeah. That's funny. Sarah, you were talking about you were curious about something that Diane has done.
Well, I know the answer to this, but I want you to get it out there for people.
For our audience and listeners.
Dan, I just want you to tell us, how important are wolves to the ecosystem? How wonderful was it that we finally had wolves back in Glacier National Park and down here in the western part of the Continental Divide?
Well, wolves have played a major role for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years in every ecosystem they lived in, because they're the top apex predator. And when you remove them, there's changes that come to the ecosystem. And we can live without wolves, but the ecosystem is different. It doesn't have the culling effect on the game populations. It isn't as wild and so forth. And some of it's value judgment, but biologically, wolves play a very key role wherever they exist. And they're a natural part of the environment.
That's crazy. So I'm going to bring back top apex predator. I mean, that's grizzly bears and mountain lion and all of these animals. The wolf is at the top of that food chain.
They're all colleagues in that circle.
Okay. Nice. I'd say it depends on circumstances, I suppose.
It totally does. And here in northwest Montana, we have 2.5 to 3 times as many mountain lions as we do wolves. There's a lot more. They're slightly larger on average than an average wolf, slightly. They're very, very efficient predators. And people don't think about, game populations can be affected by mountain lions. It's always, the wolves are killing all the game. We got to kill off the wolves. It's like, wait a minute. Just some biases.
Yeah, sure.
And they interact in very interesting ways. I have a chapter in my book called Lions and Wolves and Bears, Oh My. And it's all about how these carnivores coexist and how it has changed since the wolves came back.
Well, even in the wintertime, right? Don't we have bears that some don't hibernate up in the North Fork because they're all kind of interacting and helping each other to survive in the winter?
I don't know that it's that altruistic. They're helping each other, but they are certainly all out there.
Not intentionally.
Right. And the wolves benefit. Wolves help lions and bears, especially in the winter. They have kills and they keep swapping who owns the kill. And if it's one lion, the wolves win. If it's one bear, bears probably win.
Yeah. Another question I had, Diane, is when you retired, what was the estimated population of wolves in Glacier? Either wolves or maybe how many packs?
So I would say the number of packs. So we were studying 4 wolf packs in the North Fork. And I would say those 4 still exist, but there's no radio collars on any of the packs. It's not a high priority, I think, for the park. They've got bigger issues now to be thinking about. And Fish, Wildlife, and Parks monitors the wolf populations. And so Wendy, who I trained and she replaced me, she's wonderful. She's doing a lot of her work with trail cameras now, and she's got a pretty good idea on what's going on outside the park. But park does not allow any more trapping and collaring in the park for wolves. So it's a blank slate.
Okay.
But there are wolves down around Epgard. There's wolves along the South Middle Fork. There's wolves up and down the East Front. There's wolves all the way to Waterton. So, I mean, there's many packs. And I don't exactly know the number because park doesn't know the number.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we know that wolves live and hunt and travel in packs, but there's this common saying, a lone wolf. How do we reconcile that? I mean, do any of these wolves exist that way on purpose? Do they always find a pack to join? What's that difference between a wolf pack and a lone wolf?
That's another great question. wolves have evolved to be obligatory cooperative hunters because they're obliged to cooperate to pull down prey that's 2 to 3 times bigger than they are usually. So that's how they've evolved. So a lone wolf is not living its optimum life. It's difficult. I don't know if you ever had to wrestle a deer, but I have for research and collaring, and they kick the snot out of you. I mean, you risk, every time a wolf has to eat, it risks being killed. So they're not designed to live alone. So generally, if you see a lone wolf, it's sort of in a transition stage of its life. Either there's a young wolf that's leaving its family pack, like your teenage kids will be doing, looking for a new pack or a new mate to begin its own life, or a sick wolf or an old wolf that can no longer participate in the pack function. I don't think there's a lot of wolves that enjoy or plan on spending their life as a loner. But like when I collared one wolf in Glacier Park in 1990 and ended up dispersing into the Idaho wilderness in 1991. Well, that wolf lived alone in the wilderness for 4 years.
Wow.
They'd see him from helicopter series of elk. It's like, I don't know. It was a massive male. He was 111 pounds. I don't know how he survived. But 4 years later, when they reintroduced the wolves into Idaho, one of the little black females from Canada dispersed up into the Kelly Creek area. They found each other and they became a pack. And he lived old age because it was an inaccessible area. And they mated and they reproduced every year. But it's like he hung on for 4 years as a loner. That's remarkable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wolves need other wolves. People need people.
Yep.
We all need each other, and we all play a part in this interactive, ecosystem that we enjoy. We've got a couple other episodes that make sense to check out as we talk about the mountain lion, Path of the Puma with Jim Williams, and we talk about the grizzly bear. Tim and Rachel Manley joined us for a bear safety and awareness 2-part episode. So check those out. We've got more to talk about with Diane, and such an amazing conversation. We'll be right back.
Some trails are easy, others not so much. But Josh and Sarah from Hiking Fools will tell you the best views are worth the climb. At Freedom Bank, we go the extra mile too, finding creative solutions, offering personal service, and giving you tools to bank anywhere in Northwest Montana. We're Freedom Bank, small but mighty. Let's make your goals happen. Freedom Bank, member FDIC.
Welcome back. We are the Hiking Fools, and we have been talking with Diane Boyd. This is the final sort of segment of this conversation. Check out part 1. This is part 2, and it's just been so enlightening. Diane has so much to say about the interactive nature of our relationship with wolves and other wildlife, and it's just been such an honor to have you with us. And I noticed as we're sitting here, Diane, I've seen you a couple of times presenting. You had a pair of Brooks on, you had a Hoka, on. Are you a runner?
I was a runner. I stopped running about 10 years ago, but I love to run. And actually, like when I was trapping in the backcountry, I'd run my trap line from the vehicle, and then I'd park, and then I'd get out, and I would run my distance for the day, And
Yeah. Excellent. And born to run. And wolves also, right? Born to run. I mean, they're some of the best, most suited to run long distances. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we're both kind of long and lanky and lean.
Nice.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I ran my first marathon when I was 50 just to say I could still do it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Super cool. So you had to chase. I mean, you had to track these wolves. It takes a lot of effort. Took a lot from you, and just the love of it. And I was reading the book, and somewhere in there, there's a quote that you shared that you love, and I just wanted to hear a little bit more about it, why it's so important to you. And it goes something like, "We will not fight to save what we do not love," and just kind of talking about what does that mean to you, and why did you draw that out?
It's really important. I mean, we do things and are motivated by our passions. And so for people to learn to love Glacier Park or the wilderness, in my mind, it needs to be experiential. A podcast is the first step, and then get out and go there and smell it and see it and listen to it. But so the same is true for wolves.
Yeah, it takes an interest, it takes a passion, and then that next step is, what can I do? To help. What can I do to make this? Make this something that stays a part of our lives and our environments. Somebody listening, they might be thinking, all right, she has done great work and she's done it for a long time. And I love and I can appreciate the fact that wolves exist in and around Glacier National Park, but what can I do? We've talked a little bit about how to treat an encounter and what to do and what not to do, but what can the average person, how can they help? How can we make sure that this stays a part of our environment?
That's the key to everything. Number one, wildlife has to have habitat. And whether it's Glacier Park or the Forest Service or large private ranches, I mean, I'm a hunter, and lots of ranches are fabulous wildlife refuges, really. So need to have habitat, need to protect areas that they can live in, and to help spread word about the use of good science in making decisions. And like I totally support the Glacier National Park Conservancy, Glacier Institute. I've taught classes and done webinars for both. They're wonderful organizations. And I guess I'm not going to go political on you, but I would just say, think very carefully about how you vote, and vote for people who share your values, regardless of what the party is, and people who will help protect the environment and our wildlife.
Yes.
Yeah, some of these laws, some of these decisions absolutely trickle down to a place like this that we so much love and want to kind of foster the extraordinary nature of it. Diane, can we ask? We've talked a lot about the past and the present. Would you share what's next for you personally?
Oh golly, well, I just turned 71. I'm still very physically active, and I'm dying to travel, and I'm right now planning to drive and ferry and travel around Alaska with my dog.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
you're going to come back with so many stories.
And photos. And
Yes.
I'm going to laugh. It's like, well, I could write a little short story that dog is my co-pilot or something,
Yeah.
But I might have another book in me.
Okay.
I'm contemplating it.
Oh, I hope so.
Travels with Charlie, like a John Steinbeck sort of take on it. Have you ever been up there? Have you ever been to?
I worked in Prince William Sound. I lived in a tent on a very remote island for 4 months, studying marine birds and mammals, surveying orcas, and and on and on. I just came from the center of the continent, Minneapolis, and ended up in this most amazing place. And now I've got a lot of connections in Alaska, and I'm really excited to pursue it. So that's immediately. I've got a lot of things I want to do. I've got a lot of wildlife things. Everything I do is wildlife is the motivation to do it. I've got friends in Alaska, but I'm going to go experience wildlife.
Nice. Is there a wolf population up there? Some packs?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Tens of thousands. Yeah. Lots and lots of wolves in Alaska. I might get lucky and see some, but no guarantee anywhere.
Yeah. They'll be drawn to
They'll
you.
find you.
I feel like they'll be drawn to you. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I hope so.
Now, Diane, your proximity to Glacier National Park was incredible. I'm sure you've explored more of that. We were talking about getting into the back country a little bit. Do you have some memories of some favorite trips?
Definitely. And most of my summers in Glacier were spent working, and I always hungered to backpack more. And I got to go in the backcountry. But I was very fortunate. 5 years ago, my brother came out, my brother Jeff from Minneapolis, and he brought his sons. And I had permits, and we hiked to Medicine, oh my gosh, up over the most beautiful mountain terrain and Dawson Pass, Pitamakan Pass, 4 days, 5 nights. And it was so special. I've never seen more beautiful country. And then, unfortunately, he passed away a year ago. And so that trip I'll always have, always. And it was just so restorative to all of us.
Yeah, it's a special place, and we know that's really neat to be able to share it with people you love, friends and family, and that's part of our purpose here is to communicate to people who maybe want to experience Glacier but haven't or would love to but are intimidated. I mean, it's a big, wild place, and so a lot of times people need a little bit of guidance, and along with you is kind of what we're hoping to be able to do.
Yeah. One little story from that is my nephew, who's an attorney, he's, 45 at the time. We were hiking up out of by the Goat Hunt area, and he came around a corner, and he came running back to me, and he says, "There's a great big bear, there's a grizzly bear up there, blah, blah, blah." And he was like elevated off the ground. He was just out in front. And I said, "Are you sure?" I'm very calm. "Are you sure it was a grizzly bear?" "I know that blank grizzly bear when I see one." He says, "What am I going to do?" I said, "We're going to just stand here for 5 minutes, continue our conversation like this, and then we're just going to go walk up the trail right where you came. The bear will know we're here, and it'll be gone." And he says, "Are you sure?" And that's exactly what happened. it was kind of fun for me, and he was terrified, but nothing happened.
Yeah, fun for us. Yeah, so we talk about hiking. So everything's sort of straight up to start with, and we try to be honest and serious about, like, you need to understand that, but it's fun to see somebody brand new come. We kind of test them on something like an avalanche lake to see where they are before we might go on something a little more difficult and challenging. But that sounds like an incredible trip. And yeah, everybody, remember, Glacier Park is a great place to recreate, but there are rules and standards and ways to enjoy it. Permits for the backcountry, depending on the season, entry tickets, reservations, campgrounds, reservations, things that you need to pay attention to if you're going to enjoy Glacier Park, to the fullest. And Diane, we have to mention it once again, the book, A Woman Among Wolves. What was the impetus for that? Why did you end up wanting and needing to share this with people?
I'd spent most of my career doing research and academics with wolves and publishing papers. And I came to realize that information doesn't trickle down to the public. And I needed to do something that people could read that was reader friendly, that anybody in the grocery store could pick the book up, whether you like wolves or not, and take something away from it. So that was my motivation, is to tell it in a language that everybody's accessible to, not scientific references inserted, and tell it through stories and have fun with it and weave science through the stories. And then hopefully by the end, I didn't preach. I didn't tell people what they should think. Nothing. They just will read about the real wolf out there and some of the challenges and maybe open a few minds. And I'd been there from the very first wolf coming back until 3,000 now live in the West, about 1,000 in Montana. And what a great story to tell.
Absolutely. I love that. Weave science through the stories. I think we need more and more of that for a full appreciation of the wonderful area that we're talking about. And we just want to thank Diane for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from her. There's much more to dig into, her experience and research and things. If you want to find that, you can do that. Read the book, visit the website. Check her out. It's just been such a privilege.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's my privilege. Thank you so much for having me on.
So everybody tune in next time. And you can obviously check out more episodes online. Remember to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts to get the latest shows. And check out our Instagram page at Hiking Fools MT to see some great photos from our recent adventures. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, encouraging you to always go.